my mom was praying for guidance for her son because, I mean, she desperately wanted me to succeed and for me to find healing. And I remember her telling me that the parent really just spoke into her life and was like, this is the place for you. This is the place for you. And my mom asked, she's like, God, I need a specific sign knowing this is the place. And that parent was like, this is the place for you.
Well, welcome to Pit Stop for Life Change. My name is John Steigerwald. I'll be the host of our program today, and this is sponsored by the North Carolina Boys Academy. Well, it's 2025. It's an exciting new year. I know there's lots going on here at the Academy with young men and families as we start this new year, and we are really very looking forward to this program today. I got a special guest on our program, and he'll be sharing with us his story. And he's currently a student in the program now. He's got maybe like 7-8 weeks left. But God has done such an amazing work in Travis's life. And I want to welcome Travis to the program today. Welcome, Travis, to Pit Life for Life's Change.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, it's good to have you here, man.
Yes, sir.
It's good to have you. So why don't you kind of just introduce yourself, tell us where you're from, and then we can get into, why your parents enrolled here in the program, lessons learned, and maybe at the end I know there are parents that are listening to this, and what you would encourage them. So tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're from.
Yeah, so my name's Travis Shepard. I'm 17 years old. I'm from St. George, Utah, and I'll just begin with starting in the beginning of my life and the major traumas that really influenced the later part of my life. When I was 7, I lost my dad to kidney cancer. And so this was the first major trauma in my life, and I think that was a lot of lack of direction, a lot of lack of male leadership there. And so growing up with my mom and my sister, who's 9 years older than me, I think it was definitely tough for my mom trying to transition my sister into college and find a spot for me going into middle school and then transition to high school. Yeah. And
so Utah's home now, but did you live in Pennsylvania at one time?
Yeah, so Pennsylvania, I still live there. We go back and forth.
Okay,
but
all right.
That's where it all started, was
okay,
Pennsylvania.
so let's back up a little bit. So 7 years old, your dad passes.
Yes, sir.
And so he passed, was it of cancer?
Yeah, kidney cancer.
Kidney cancer.
Stage 4.
So at 7 he passes, but you became aware of that.
Yeah, I mean, I had vague memories of it, but looking back, I mean, I see the effects of it in my teenage years more, for sure.
And so mom's dealing with the grief and loss of her husband.
Yeah.
She's got 2 children.
Yeah.
Right. Your sister, who's older, and you.
16 at the time.
16 at the time.
Yeah.
And so just hardship, really, just hardship. And
Yeah.
so your mom wants to help you grow and develop, and there's this huge gap in your life because your dad's no longer there.
Yeah.
Your dad was very active in sports, wasn't he?
Yes, sir.
So what did he do?
Yeah, he was a professional baseball player, and then he went on to be the youngest general manager in minor league baseball ever.
Yeah. And he's currently he's in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, he was inducted in the Hall of Fame for baseball.
Okay, amazing. So that's the kind of dad you had. Real active guy.
Hero.
A hero. He's a hero. Yeah. Sports guy.
Yeah.
I mean, you're a sports guy, right?
Yeah.
You love lacrosse.
Yeah.
And so tell us about, just talk to us a little bit about your mom and the steps she took to help you, find some male mentors and where that led. And then, so there's the passing of your dad, and then.
Yeah. And so moving from about 7 to 11 years old, I was growing up, just going to private school, pretty normal life, playing sports, really into basketball, running cross country and track, and then playing baseball as well. And then I later on switched to lacrosse in 6th grade. But my mom was really struggling with opening up about the pain, so we kind of all just neglected that it even happened.
The pain of your dad.
We just suppressed it as a family.
Didn't talk about it?
No, I think it was too painful to bring up those memories.
Sure.
And I didn't really understand it at the time, to be honest. I saw the pain. Right? I saw the pain that they were going through, but I don't think I had enough mental stability to understand it. Or mental maturity is a better way to put it. And then when I was 11, for the years leading up to that, I was getting bullied at school about him being passed away. I mean, kids just putting me down for it. And it was really messing with me. And so my mom started looking at boarding schools to just get me out of that environment, to put me in a community with strong men in my life, because that's what I was really lacking. And so we decided on a boarding school in Virginia, and that's really where the second major trauma came into my life at 11.
So you went from Utah?
Pennsylvania.
Oh, Pennsylvania?
Pennsylvania to Virginia.
To Virginia.
Yep,
to
when I was 11.
11 years old to a boarding school, a military boarding school.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right.
Yes, sir.
And then you said that's where
Some more
happened.
trauma entered my life. I was physically and sexually abused for almost 2 years. And after that, I mean, my life really fractured into a lot of pieces.
Spiraled out of control?
Yeah, I mean, also my father started coming forth. I was having memories of being in the hospital with him. I never really got to say goodbye to him. The last time I talked to him was 2 days before his death. And then he passed away. And the last time I saw him, he was getting rolled out of the house. And so I think losing my father, I was so hungry for male attention. And so I found that in brothers that were older than me, but they ended up taking advantage of me through that connection. And so I think it skewed my view of intimacy and my view of connection with others. And that's really what warped my identity, was those two major traumas.
Yeah, so your dad dies. Mom, good mom, loves her son, feeling the hardship that you're experiencing with the loss of your dad. Let me get him around some men. And enrolls you in a boarding school. And at that boarding school, there's some guys that take advantage of you emotionally, mentally, and sexually.
Yes, sir.
And it breaks you.
Yeah, completely.
And so what happens?
Yeah, so I think from that point, it was building a new identity, because that old one was proven to me as weak. That's what the outside sources around me told me, is that I was weak because I submitted to authority. And so from then on, I viewed authority as kind of an attack on who I was because of me submitting to that authority when I was younger, and just viewing submission as weak, viewing dependency and vulnerability as weak. And so I turned to drugs, alcohol, just really anything I could that would make me belong. That's what I was seeking.
So you're really searching for belonging.
Yeah, and peace and significance. I mean, there's so many
security,
facets
significance.
To it.
We talk about that, don't we? We talk about security.
Yeah.
Travis and I meet once a week for mentorship, and he's a fine young man. I mean, he's a smart young man. God's given him some amazing mind there, as well as his athleticism. But that's for conversation for another day.
Sure.
But Travis, as you were seeking, male affirmation, father figure, really, right?
Yeah.
In a sense of belonging somewhere, it gets shattered. You spiral down.
Yep.
What happens at school?
Yeah, so I end up getting removed from school for, there's a multitude of reasons, but stealing, vaping, smoking weed, drinking. They didn't know about those areas, but stealing was what ultimately got me removed from school. And so at that time, I'd been playing lacrosse, and that was really my one area of life where I felt calm in, that I found refuge in, was sports, because it kind of took away the pain of my life and allowed me to stand out for something that made me feel valued and important. And that kind of became my idol in a way. It became my God, because that's where I found my significance.
Through playing lacrosse.
Through playing lacrosse.
Okay, so fast forward now. So you leave that school. I know there's another school that you actually went to, and there was some failure there.
Yes, sir.
And because of just the abuse, the drug abuse, the alcohol abuse,
girls partying,
that whole spiel right there.
Yeah.
And you're in the process of re-engaging with that coach. That's exciting.
Yes, sir.
Really excited about making amends and things like that. So, but let's fast forward to the North Carolina Boys Academy, because I think that's an important part to be at, and what you've learned here, what God's doing in your life, and then talking about some lessons.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
So just talk to us about how you came to the North Carolina Boys Academy.
So being removed from two schools, my mom was really looking for a change again. And this time I needed discipline, I needed structure, I needed guidance. And so she found this place through a friend of a friend. And
interesting.
She had prayed before she came here. And I remember she told me later on in my program, I've been here for 60 months now, but she told me that she met one of the parents rolling through the gate, and she had tears streaming down her face. She was just broken and distressed.
This is your mom?
My mom.
So she came for the visit on campus.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and she saw a lacrosse net out there too, and she just
and that was a signal from
that
God.
was a signal for her that because I had no idea who you were.
Yeah.
And she said, "Yeah, that's my son plays lacrosse." And then as she was leaving campus, there was a parent of a student,
and that parent my mom was praying for guidance for her son because, I mean, she desperately wanted me
Sure.
to succeed and for
Yeah,
me to find
yeah,
healing.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I remember her telling me that the parent really just spoke into her life and was like, this is the
God
place
moment,
for
huh?
you. This is the place for you. And my mom asked, she's like, God, I need a specific sign knowing this is the place.
Yeah.
And that parent was like, this is the place
Yeah,
for you.
yeah. That was the Lennons.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
Andy and Tracy Lennon and Peter. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Good family, great family.
Yes, sir.
And so, all right, she gets her confirmation, and
and it was a difficult process getting here. I ran away for a week.
I had you in the kitchen that entire morning. It was Thanksgiving morning, right? I had you in the kitchen.
But prior to coming,
okay.
I ran
Oh,
away.
you ran. That's right. You ran
Yep.
away. Okay.
And then so that delayed my time, and then I finally got here. And when I got here, very difficult process of pruning for God in my life. I mean, I had so many walls built up. It really took a lot for me to break those down, for God to break those down, to let him in. And ran away again after my first month. And then I think after those big trials, I started to see God's hand in my life. I started to see his love for me. I started to see his compassion on me, that he would bring me to a place where I had a pasture that I could find healing and development and wholeness in, like we were talking about this morning. And I surrendered my life on February 11th, 2023.
That's
and
a cool
accepted
story.
Jesus Christ. And it was a radical encounter.
It was an encounter with God.
An encounter with Christ.
At our home church.
Yes, sir. CAC.
CAC.
Yep.
And tell us what happened, Travis.
Yeah, so it was a traveling evangelist. He was from England, and he was talking about all this loss in his life, about how his son committed suicide after smoking weed for the first time. His daughter fell in the lake, and she ended up dying of hypothermia because no one was there to help her. And then his wife almost walked away from the faith because their children were dying, and she's like, I don't believe in God anymore. He's not real. He doesn't love me. And this guy was talking about how God's love never leaves us in the struggles, because that's how he proves his love for us, is through those hard things when he's right behind us the whole way. He's waiting for us to turn around and realize that his hand is in those moments, and that's when he's pulling us close.
Yes.
Teaching us the biggest lessons in life. And so he spoke this thing, and my heart just kind of melted. He was like, die to self. And my mom used to tell me that as a kid. And I was really seeking God at the time, and I was miserable inside. And something just broke, and he's like, come to the altar if you want to accept Jesus. And so I walked up to the front all alone by myself, and he said, raise your hand, and I believe miracles are going to happen in this room. And I rose my hand, and a rushing wind, completely still in this room, a rushing wind hit the back of my neck and flooded my body, and a hand grasped my hand.
Powerful.
And I just broke.
Powerful. So it was like you said that you felt like your hand was raised,
Yeah,
and you felt
someone just grabbed it.
someone grabbed your hand,
And no one was next to
and
me.
no one was next to you,
No.
and you sensed it was the presence of God.
100%.
What a powerful encounter.
Yes, sir.
Powerful encounter. So then that begins the new journey of being
Yeah.
a new creation in Christ.
Yeah.
And so if you had to summarize lessons learned here at the academy, 3. I mean, I know there are many.
Yeah, it's a hard.
So it wouldn't be tough to pick
Yeah.
them out. But just give us 3 lessons, and then how they've impacted your life.
For sure. I think the first one is identity transformation. And that's through transparency, not only in a relationship with people on this earth, but a relationship with the Heavenly Father, and digging into his word. And after I accepted Christ, I mean, it was a long journey. It's been a long journey. It will continue to be.
Yes.
But it's been a fun journey.
Sure.
And I'm in his hands. And I think that identity switch of knowing that self-worth isn't based on others' opinions or performance, but based on solely what Christ did for me on the cross.
Travis, that's awesome.
And his blood just shed for me.
That's awesome.
And for freedom and for wholeness. And so walking in that every day and realizing that I'm not defined by my mistakes or my actions or others' opinions, but I'm defined by what Christ did for me and what he did for the world. And so I think that light coming into my life really shed a big part on my identity piece, because I built my identity in others' opinions,
yes.
very performance oriented.
Yes.
So I think realizing that no matter what I do, I'm a child of God.
Yeah. And even today, lacrosse doesn't define you.
No.
Although
It's a,
you love the game.
yeah, it's a gift to steward for his glory.
Yes.
That's what it's about.
Second lesson.
Second one is, I would say, talent ignites success, but character sustains it.
Say it again, buddy.
Talent ignites success, but character sustains it.
There you go.
And I had a lot of talent. God's blessed me with a lot of gifts, and I've been fortunate to have a lot of opportunities where I've got to meet a lot of cool people and do a lot of cool things. But my character couldn't sustain any opportunity I was given.
Isn't that true?
And so I think being here and over the past months learning simple obedience, self-control, respect, and honesty, the foundation of who you are, the essence of who you are is your character. And so I think learning those character traits just throughout the 3 stages of the program, humility, courage, servanthood, perseverance, and for Navy, the color I'm in currently,
Higher level, right? Highest level you can get here.
Discernment, compassion, and
Sure,
faithfulness. And
sure.
so like applying those to my life and seeing the opportunities that I've been given sustained through my action.
Isn't that a
through
key
my
word?
words. Yeah.
Sustainability.
Yeah.
I mean, people can achieve something,
Yeah.
but to sustain it
Yeah.
and continue to climb, right?
Yeah.
There's setbacks, there's failures, but
Yeah.
embedded within the program, there's this idea that we recover
Yeah.
from failure, right?
Exactly.
So first one's identity. Second one is character.
Yep.
And I know you've got probably a long list there of third one, but what would it be, Travis?
I would say maturity indicators.
Share that with us.
When I first came in, I was an infant, and the first level for an infant is learning how to receive.
From a maturity, from the stages of life, so you have 5. You have infant, child, adult, parent, and elder.
Yeah.
So you're talking about maturity.
Yeah. And so chronologically, everyone that comes through this program is an adult. At 13, that's when chronologically you're a male adult. And so coming in, I realized I was an infant. And so that awareness piece of realizing I don't know how to receive. I got to learn how to receive before I can give life.
There you go.
And so when I started to receive life, I learned how to give as well. And to give is better than to receive, obviously. But then the second one is child stage, and that is learning how to take care of oneself.
Big, right?
Personal responsibility, huge. And so the third one that I'm currently in is learning to take care of self and others in mutually satisfying relationships.
Isn't that beautiful?
And that's the characterized of an adult.
Yeah, and you do a fine job of that.
Yes, sir.
You know, especially where in the program right now we've got, very few guys, upper level students, because we've graduated them out, and now we've got a whole new batch coming in.
Yeah.
And it can be challenging at times.
Yeah.
But I know it's a trial for you, but you're doing a great job.
Sir.
Tremendous job. Well, Travis, I know there are parents that are listening right now. I know that.
Yeah.
And they're like at a crossroads. They're at an intersection. They're in crisis. They're like, what do I do? We know we have to enroll our son somewhere. And I'm real specific with that language. You don't send your son here. You enroll him in the program, because here at the Academy, it's not only about helping young men earn maturity in their life. It's also about helping the family.
Yeah.
And so, because we provide parent training for the parents also. But you have a moment here to speak to the hearts of a dad that's listening and a mom that's listening. What would you say to them?
I would say the first thing is words create worlds. And so everything that you speak over your child is going to make a deep impact on their life. And it's it really is going to cultivate the person they become, what you speak over your child. And so I think that's the first thing. The second is realizing that you need transparency in relationship and developing emotional intelligence, being able to be aware of self and others and their feelings, having empathy with your child, and understanding that the situations that have happened in their life may be upon themselves, but it's ultimately behind a world system they view differently because of a situation or a belief. And so rooting out those false beliefs that they may believe. And then I think the last one would be life has lots of experiences, and they can make us better or bitter, but it's whether we focus on Christ or the crisis.
Yeah. So there's a mom and dad right now saying, I'm not sure that I have the courage to enroll my son in the Academy. Your mom made a courageous decision to enroll you here. Do you think
100%.
100%, right?
Yeah.
So saying to them right now, what would you say to those parents?
I would say it's a very difficult step to take, to trust and to know that God has a bigger plan, but ultimately He wants so much more for your son than where he's at right now. And courage isn't the absence of fear, but it's the presence of love in the midst of it. And so I think really understanding that this place is for healing and for growth and for building strong men that can stand countercultural in a world where it's evil, it's dark out there,
Yes.
and we need more lights, and
It
this
is.
place develops and builds them.
It is. Wow, Travis, thank you so much
Yes, sir.
for being part of the program today. I'm going to bring you back. I know
Yes, sir.
that we're going to have another program here because there's so much we can talk about.
Yeah.
So
there
thank
is.
you for sharing your story with us
Sir.
today. And to all our friends out there, it's thank you for dialing in today, tuning into this podcast. It's been a great session we've had today with Travis. And if you have a son that needs help, I want to encourage you to contact us. Go to our website. Our homepage has a yellow button on it. Click it, get help right away. And one of our admissions folks would get in touch with you. And maybe you know someone that has a challenging situation with their son. I want to encourage you to give us a call. We're here to help and to serve. And remember that God's got you back in 2025. Blessings.